Welcome back to another episode of Stuck in the Middle, the Couch Talk. You're here listening and watching to SitM Podcast. Please subscribe. I'm here joined by a few good guests. I'm your host, Sir Charles Capo. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's been a long time. Valentine is coming. Where's your boyfriend? Hey! Happy Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? I'm joined by a lot of good people surrounded by me. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a good conversation. But first, let's talk about our sponsors. Be sure to visit SitMPodcast.com. Make sure you go and grab some merchandise. You know what I'm saying? You see me here representing with this crew neck sweater. It's fashionable. Get one for your girl Valentine. He's coming. Where is your spouse? But that's another conversation for another day. Yo, let's kick it off like this. I'm here joined by my good man, Tevin Mason, aka DMV African. Tevin is a graduate of Bowie State University. Go Bulldogs, by the way. He's a co-host of the Mason Bros podcast. Tevin is also the owner of Gifted Hands. So ladies, fellas, if you need to get your girl a massage by a trusted individual, make sure you hit Gifted Hands _301 on Instagram. I'm here with the urban disciple, Alamede, Baby Lam.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, the lambs. The Lamb of God.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, we about to get into it. Yo, fellas, ladies, anybody that's an immigrant, I got the best immigration lawyer here joined with me, Mr. Terrence, aka, I'm not going to say his real government name, but we all know him as Terrence. Yo, make sure you hit him up. It's Babylon Terrence on Instagram. And last but not least, my Stuck in the Middle family, Miss Nane. How you doing, Nane?
Great.
I see your blog post. You know what I'm saying? You've been blogging lately. You've been dropping some gems on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
I try.
You try. Look, she's modest, y'all. She's modest. Make sure you hit up SitM Podcast, the blog section. Go read her post. There's a lot of good content on there. We dropping things every day. You know what I'm saying? We got the Couch Talk. We got Stuck in the Middle. Shout out to Flex. Shout out to Uncle AK. Shout out to Tutu Baby. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes. Ma, Achira, we all see you. Yo, Stuck in the Middle's 4th birthday. We here.
Congrats. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats. Yeah.
Yo, we appreciate it, yo. You know what I'm saying? 4th year, a lifetime to go. So we here. We're just getting started. But let's kick it off. We have our first topic. The definition of family. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to start it off with Mr. DMV African over here, Mr. Tevin Mason. What's your definition of family?
Family definition. I would probably say I see family as like a tribe. I'm taking it back to the ancestral time. Pretty much, a close-knit group of everybody, being on the same page, loving each other, treating everybody with respect. And, if push comes to shove, protecting one another. So I would say family is like this tribe to me. So, for example, my mom and dad, they're from Sierra Leone. They came over here and, they tried to give us a better opportunity. And, luckily I graduated, brother graduated, sister, she's in school right now. So, when it comes to, that small group that I have with my family, I take it very serious. So, yeah.
What about you, Labs?
I would say a family is a unit that is doing life together, that's meshed together by core values and tradition, and everybody plays a role in each other's lives, and they function together.
Okay. Terrence?
I'd say a family is it's a unit that has a common purpose. That purpose could be anything. It could be love for something. It could be hate for something. Who were your January 6th? They certainly think of themselves. Yeah, they definitely think of themselves as a family. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're a perverted family, nonetheless. But it's still a family. But hey, I don't want to start a judgment. But yeah, anyways, it's a unit with a common purpose. So what that purpose is depends on the kindness of the hearts of the people in that unit.
With you saying that, like, do you feel like there's an ideal time to start a family?
No, I don't think so. Well, it could be a yes and no.
Uh-huh.
Because I've talked to quite a lot of people. I am an occupational therapist profession. So there are people who say sometimes you just start and you get ready when it starts, and sometimes you plan for it to start at a certain time and it doesn't start then. So it's a yes or no. You can prepare financially, mentally, emotionally, and then it takes longer to get the family than you anticipated. And then you're just doing life, and then boom, you start a family. So it's.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
Recently I've been seeing a lot of my married friends with no kids. They say that a family is a husband and wife, regardless of kids. And I've never thought of it like that before. I always thought family is like husband, wife, and then children. But then they're saying like when they got married, they started their family that day. So I think it's a beautiful perspective to look at it that way as well.
But you know, the thing about family is that I feel like sometimes family could be considered outside of just husband, wife, family, children. It could be, you can have extended family. But there's people that are not a part of my immediate circle or my immediate family that I consider family. Like those friends that you grow with and that you deal with. So do you think that there's like a family just has to be in just your immediate circle, like your immediate family, like your blood? If they're not your blood, they can't be your family?
I think a family is what you make of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Because different cultures see family differently. Like for me, I grew up with my aunts, I grew up with my grandma. So as much as I recognize my parents as my parents, it's wider than that.
Right.
Like when it comes to family decisions or where to go to school, what major to study, you have input from aunties and uncles, and you're like, oh no, you gotta be a doctor, or and it's coming from a place of love. But sometimes parents tend to take on the aunties, their siblings' input on how to guide you on where to go or what to do. Say for example, if you're getting married, when you're thinking of a person you're getting married to, you're like, oh, are my parents gonna accept this person? My auntie is gonna accept this person. So it goes out like that.
So Tevin, you talked about coming here. I think your parents, you were born here?
Yeah, I was born. Yeah, I was born here.
So your parents were basically first generation?
Yeah, first generation, yeah.
So understanding that culture and that dynamic, right? As well as being raised in this culture, do you feel like African Americans and Africans have two different definitions of what family means or how they classify family?
I'll probably say not too much because, like, for example, I'll say this, my mom's side of the family, I don't hate them, but they did a lot of weird and foul things towards, my close-knit family where, I just try to stay away from them because, we're moving forward, not trying to be on negativity, but, but when it comes to my dad's side of the family, and, I'm more closer to them, and it's sad to say, I'll call, like, my best friend's parents, like another dad and a mom if anything happened. So I got a more close-knit family with them where if anything happened personally to me and I needed help or anything did happen, well, if anything did happen, they would be there for me before my actual mom's side of the family, unfortunately. So with that being said, I can see how, like, people had different meanings and stuff, so yeah.
Lambs, you mentioned something earlier that kind of intrigued me, which is you seeing like a lot of people, especially in 2020. I don't know. I think I do know, but 2020 was a wild year. A lot of people around our age in the DMV started proposing, getting married.
December time? It was like every day.
People just popped the question. Shout out to Flex, man. I don't know if y'all seen that video, but it's a viral video.
He raised the bar. Like,
I'm questioning how I'm about to propose if I gotta propose, but we'll get back to that. How long is too long being with someone prior to starting a family? Is there like a length of time associated with it?
Honestly, I don't think so.
You sure?
Okay, I don't think so, but then I do think so. Mm-hmm. So my dad was 35 when my mom had me. And my dad was 50 when they had my little sister. So
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So you can see, like, at 50, my sister's not gonna experience him the same way I experienced him. So, and even at 35 is kind of late if you think about it, to have your first child. But no, I don't think it's late. But like, my mom was 23 when she had me, so we're able to grow together and really, have a relationship. With my dad, he's like what, a baby boomer, and I'm a millennial, so like the perspectives are different. And my sister, she's a Gen Z, so I'm praying that he lives long enough to see her like have children. But in reality, he was 50 when she was born, so it's like she might not experience it in that way like I was. So it's kind of, sometimes it's too late, but at the same time, life is what you make it. The memories you make of it, the choices you make of it. So I don't want to say it's too late, but sometimes you can't experience every season due to time, unfortunately.
What are your thoughts, Terrence?
Can you ask the question again?
Is there like a length of time, or is it too long before you start a family? Like, is there a length of time where it's like, all right, you're pushing it, you're pushing the bar, like you should have been started a family?
Right. I mean, I actually don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because, it's like a couple of people started their families really late, and they still turned out okay. They still had a good time. They still found a way to bond and all of that. And I just happen to think that starting a family, society has put too much of a responsibility on people to feel the need to actually, like, hey, there's a time when you have to start a family. And so what we're getting now as a result of that enormous responsibility that society has placed on people is that you have a whole bunch of false starts. A whole bunch of people who jump into starting a family just because they feel like, it's the time for them. And then now we have a whole bunch of children who don't particularly belong in a particular unit. You know what I mean? So I think that it's very important to just let the people who are thinking of becoming a family decide when it's best to start a family.
Is there a step-by-step process to like building a family? Is there like a manual?
I mean, I will say the first step is working on yourself.
Right.
I feel like sometimes we pass on trauma
Absolutely.
to our children. I'm learning things my mom has said over me because of her own insecurities. It's like, so do it yourself first before you now become a spiritual guardian to another human being. Like, children are sponges, they soak everything up, and the foundation is important. So you want to work on yourself so you don't speak death into their life. So I feel like that's the first step, work on yourself. You know your own traumas. Step 2, finding somebody that you actually want to have kids with. Like, don't want to replicate you. Because some people don't want to replicate. There's some people that do not need to be replicated, okay? So you need to find somebody that's worth replicating. Because your child might take your characteristics, Like, I literally act like my dad. Like, and my mom's like, you act like your father. It's like, whoa, you created me. So those are the first 2 steps for me, I believe.
I actually don't think I've ever thought about that, actually.
Yeah, no, she just spit some gems, and low-key I'm sitting here in this chair and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I work with a lot of people from a white generation. And to add to what you said, like our parents, well, let me say for my parents, they grew up in Cameroon and then they moved here. Now I grew up the first in my early teens in Cameroon and I moved here. So I am between 2 cultures. So they had kids, and well, I don't remember how old my dad was, but my mom was 26 when she had me. So when I was tethering the 25, 26, they're like, oh, okay. But I'm in a different culture, I'm in a different system. I was still in school. So it's hard navigating what they want and what I'm trying to understand or where I am now. And it's also hard to explain that. So it's like, okay, do I just, because for them, they're looking at it as, I want grandkids. But they are not looking at it from my point of view, like, okay, what do I want?
Right.
I mean, someday I would love to get married and have kids, but can it be on my timeline?
Yeah.
No. But there's this whole society thing of, oh, your clock is ticking. I'm like, don't you think I know that? So it's, yeah.
I get it. And because I want to follow up on that. Like, do you feel like our parents hold us accountable to the same standards that they were living in?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Really?
And I back then I used to fight them, but because I've gone into a lot of reading and trying to understand life from other people's perspective, not necessarily changing my life to suit them, but to understand where they're coming from. So I get that in their time, having kids at a younger age was what they did. But in our time, it's different. Yeah. You have to have financial. Now, back home, you can have your kid and your neighbor will help you raise it. That doesn't happen here. Right. So you got to figure out, are you going to work while you're raising your kid? As the man wants to be part of raising the kid, or he wants to just work and then provide financially. So there's a whole lot of things you have to figure out for yourself, but it's hard to explain it to them because they're looking at it from a different perspective.
Even times have changed. You know, people have kids younger back then, but now people are, if you have kids in your 30s and 40s, you can have twins and triplets more likely than your 20s. So it's like, yeah, I'm having kids late, but I might have 2 or 3 at one time. So times have changed. You know, people got married then for financial reasons and for love, but now it's like babes are making 6 figures, having their own house. You know, like they're not looking for a man for a paycheck. They're not. So it's just like, okay, like things have changed.
They're independent. Valentine is coming. Hey, where's your girlfriend?
That's my person.
Times have changed. Like, you know, my grandma, her era, they all got married and they depended on their, at 19, depended on their husband. But now it's like, everybody's dependent on themselves. Not independent, like we're interdependent. But it's like, I don't need to marry you for money. Like, do I like you? Can I stand being around you? Like, your money means nothing to me. So it's just like, times have changed.
With you saying that, and tell me, I'm going to direct this question to you. With you saying that, right, do you feel like there's more conversations surrounded about not really necessarily being married and entering a space where you may be committed to a person, but you may not necessarily want to get married to that person?
Why would you commit if you don't want to marry?
I know people who have done that.
You know what I'm saying? They consider that a life partnership. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, I'd rather be committed to you, but this title, this idea of what marriage is supposed to be, especially in America days, where where paperwork is everything. Oh, I'm married to this person. Oh, I need to tax you differently. I need to put you in this bracket. I need to make sure that you stay in this space so I can control what's going on in that space. But living an independent life is a lot different in terms of how you approach things. You know, it's a lot less stressful. It's a lot less to think about.
Yeah.
So do you think our generation today is necessarily having those conversations to say, you know what, pump the brakes on this idea of marriage. Let's be life partners instead.
Well, the people involved are gonna have to define it for themselves.
Agree. Definitely agree.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I agree because it's like, you know, certain people view marriage as like a holy matrimony thing where pretty much, you know, it's on a pedestal. Other people are just like, I really don't care about the marriage thing. If I say you're my life partner and I love you, you know, we're gonna be together for the rest of eternity. So that being said, you know, it depends how the people look at it and view it, because, you know, it depends how they feel about it. You can't force. I mean, you can force it on somebody. You know, parents. I mean, well, African parents in general. I don't know about y'all. You know, my parents. You know, well, I just say African parents in general because we all can relate to the point where they push views from us from a younger age, where you need to go to church. You know, every Sunday. You need to make sure that you know you get all A's in school. Make sure you go to college, get a degree, and get that big job that pays a lot of money. But in reality, you know, everybody has their, you know, their path to where they're gonna go. So, you know, like I had to explain to my mom where I told her, I was just like, I'm not really trying to go to PWI. I just want to go to a simple HBCU, learn about communications, and, you know, get my degree. I promised you that, but I'm not gonna go to no big, you know, PWI school. So, you know, I gotta go into Bowie. And I'm meeting Charles, you know, shout out to Charles. You know. He was my first friend at Bowie, y'all. So that being said, you know, with that being said, you know, yeah, like everybody have their path, you know, and again, we love our parents, you know, and we appreciate them for, you know, giving us life. But at the same time, you know, it's a different aspect when, you know, growing up from where you grew up at in your time to where we're growing up right now. So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I think a lot of times parents don't necessarily understand that change and that dynamic, right? I think we were having a conversation off camera where we were talking about that family dynamic, right? Having that conversation, and I learned something new today, right? So I was explaining to the team here that, you know, I'm able now as an adult, quote unquote, as an African child, that I can have a conversation with my parents a little differently than a few years ago, right? I think they're starting to hear my voice. But it's not necessarily the same for everyone. Is that true, Lambs?
It is not.
Why?
Well, I'm a firstborn Nigerian daughter to a Yoruba woman. Yoruba. It's different, okay?
Hey.
By 10 p.m., my mom was texting me, "Where are you?" You know, and not like to come home, but to keep tab, like, "Where are you?" And this is different. Like, I was chilling with a friend, and his mom was like, "When are you going home?" And she was like, not like that. She was just like, "You know, a Yoruba woman, you know, they try to talk about people staying home in people's houses. You know, you're a good girl, you should go home, da da." And I was just like, we're not doing anything inappropriate. I said, I'm leaving. But it's just like, even with us being 2021, culture still the same for Yoruba girls or African daughters. Like, you can't be a guy at night. You can't be roaming the street. You can't be promiscuous, all that stuff. And it's like with you guys, your friends, like, they don't really have the same type of conversation with you guys, the same standards. So the convo for me is like, where are you going? Who are you hanging out with? And I'm 30. Like, what the heck? You know, like, who's this person? How am I gonna be out there? COVID's rampant. But it's like with you guys, it's like, you come home, you come home. You don't come home, you don't. You know? So it's different.
So you think our parents actually know it's a double standard? Or
I don't think that they know.
I think they know, but they don't care to change it.
Well, I think they probably realize that it's a double standard. Well, yeah, they probably realize that it's a double standard, but you know, it's not that they don't care to change it. They're okay with it.
Yes, that's why I said they probably know the difference, but they don't want to change it.
Right.
There's no reason to change it.
Right, because if you think about it, the double standard actually it fits their beliefs. Like it fits exactly what they think, which is, you know, a male child will, you know, if anything, the male child can take care of himself out there. That's what they think, right? Meanwhile, the female child cannot. Now, it can be rooted in a lot of things, and I'm not willing to go there. I'm not willing to go there.
I understand, yeah.
But I will chime in if you do.
Because I was on my brother on the phone with my mom, and my mom was yelling at me like, I was calling you, didn't answer my call. And my brother's 23. He was like, whoa. Why are you talking to her like that? And she was like, she didn't answer my call. I was calling her. He was like, I know, but she's a grown woman. So why are you talking to her like that? We're 8 years apart. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she addressed him and understood where he's coming from, and I'm the firstborn, I was like, oh, nah. Yeah. So I called him. He was like, nah, that needs to stop. Like, we can't be doing that. And it's just like, because misogyny, toxic masculinity, let's talk about it. Like, it's rampant. And I feel like because our parents have not, like, dealt with it, it's affecting some of their marriages. But they can't change society because they have.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Oh, jump in.
We're saving topics for later.
You're jumping too far?
We're off the deep end.
Okay, sorry.
We're in 10 feet water.
Okay, but yeah, I feel like they do talk to us different. And I look at my mom moving out, and I feel like now that I'm 30 and she's 50 something, it's two adults in the house, but it's, in her eyes, it's adult and child.
Right.
And
there can't be two masters.
There can't be two masters.
I think when you move out, though,
it's probably always going to be that way.
But it doesn't really change.
Right.
The child, it was
oh no, I've seen my friends that are married with kids, and their mom would be like, "Wambi, like come here," like as if they're little girls. It's like, wait, I'm a whole married woman with a child, and you're supposed to be like that. I said, wow.
So, do you feel like it's chalked up to I don't know if tradition and culture is necessarily different, but I want to use those two words or adjectives. Excuse me. Tradition and culture. Do you feel like it's chalked up to that, or do you feel like it's just something that we, as now the new generation, we have to still instill those same principles to the next You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like, should we keep that cycle going?
No, this
Or is
thing
there
has to
something
die
we
with
need
Well,
to
it's not working
It
for
has
us.
to
So
die
I
with
think
us.
that
It has to die with us. It has to die. This day, it has to
I think
stop.
we're all seeing the effects it had on our parents' marriage and their generation, so it has to end with us.
Yeah, it has to. It has
Because
to.
there's grown men out here acting like children
Right.
because the culture has babied them.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, did I go too far?
Yo, she
I have my own podcast.
is-
I'm sorry. I have my own podcast. I should go in.
Yo, Urban Disciple. She's a blogger. She has her own podcast. Ladies, if you need tips on fashion, you know what I'm saying, that's another
Aw,
but we'll
thank
get on.
you.
We'll get there. But Urban Disciple, she can prepare.
Right.
She can prepare. All right, I want to divulge a little bit. This is a different topic, so we're gonna gear right back into family. I saw a topic recently, or not recently, but like a year ago or two, which is really intriguing, and I wanted to ask this question. Right? Say you're married, right? Everyone plans or would like to get married. You have children. Who comes first? Your spouse or your child?
Wow.
Spouse.
Spouse.
It's not even close.
Every
Spouse.
30
because the spouse is before the kids came in. So.
Spouse.
Automatically.
I want to hear why.
But that's my explanation was well, if they were kids before they got married, it might be different, but
Let me pick up.
Yeah.
Let me continue from there. Because earlier we were talking about, and you were asking. I'm sorry, mate. I forgot your name.
Oh, seven.
Tevin. Yeah, you asked Tevin, and you know, you were talking about the family, the nuclear family, you know, the immediate family, all that stuff. Now, my view on that is the immediate family is the only family that we didn't exactly pick.
Ooh.
Right? Like we didn't exactly like, you know, I have some aunts. I hope they don't have iPhones. Like, because I'm just saying, I have some aunts who literally get under my skin. Right? You know, I didn't pick them, so I have to love them regardless. Right? You know,
Mhm.
but you see now, my spouse, that one I picked. Right? You know, the kid I didn't, you know, I decided to have the kid, but I didn't pick the kid from a lineup.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like my spouse, that one I chose to have to spend the rest of my life with. You know, so I'll be damned if the kid comes before her. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the kid is gonna get the love that the kid is supposed to get.
Yeah.
But my spouse made that kid happen. Like it's just like you
Yeah.
can't, you know,
Yeah.
you can't love the kid without loving the spouse more.
This question's just
I like
starting
that.
to split. It's starting to split. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just saying because I feel like a lot of times, right, your kid is forever, right? At the end of the day, your child is a part of you. The spouse, yes, you picked, but people can have a tendency to make the wrong selection at times.
Fact.
At times.
Fact.
So my question is, it's really geared to like those who really split, right?
Are you saying
Yeah.
we're like in a catastrophe and you need to save one person?
I mean,
You're saying
yeah.
in terms of loving somebody more.
I'm thinking catastrophe. I don't even really want to go that far. I'm just thinking like when it comes down to love, right? Because if that catastrophe were to happen and you're faced with two obstacles, who are you really picking? Are you picking that the person that like I know who my man's is picking? Yeah, so you just like
Actually, I feel like I need to clarify. Just make sure that you know what my answer in that scenario would be. Now, my answer in that scenario is, I pray to God that my spouse realizes that in that scenario I have to pick my kid,
Yeah.
because my kid has a much longer life ahead of him or her.
Yeah.
And you know, I have to make sure we have to do my spouse proud. So I have to pick my kid,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But you know, I would expect my spouse to do the same damn thing. That's all I would say.
Yeah.
I would expect
Yeah.
them to do the
Yeah.
same
I
thing.
respect that.
Yeah.
I
Definitely agree with
My
that.
uncle asked me that when I was younger, and I said my kids, and he was just like, "Wait, no, your spouse." And I was just like, "Wait, no, but your kids are younger; they need to live life. You already live life at this point." So I agree with you on that.
Tev, help me out. Somebody gotta save the children. Somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with both of them. I'm choosing the children as much as I love my spouse. Like if it was, you know, if the thing was pretty much, you know, switched and I was in that situation, I'll totally go save the kids. Weird story. Pretty much. I know this is just random, but it was one of these wrestlers that was in the water in the ocean with his son, and they ended up getting caught by a tidal wave. So, you know, they came to pretty much save him. They tried to comfort the dad. The dad said, no, save my child. Unfortunately, you know, the dad died, but the kid was saved. So in that situation, he saved his kid. So, you know, moving forward, like if you're in, you know, if we was all put in that situation, the child, you know, he hasn't lived life yet. So, you know, at least with my spouse, she lived life, you know, we loved. And, you know, I believe that she'll understand. And even if it was the same situation, I will understand if she saves the kids. So that's just me personally. But, you know, it'll hurt, you know. But, you know, fortunately, you know, we got these big children.
To be fair, it's not going to hurt for that long, considering you die shortly after that. But I mean, but you know.
Let's not forget, this is the man who is representing us to get a great card. He's a harsh, blunt man.
I mean,
another way to look at it is you can't. The kid is always your kid. You can't have no spouse.
You can have another kid.
I mean,
Yeah, I did devil's advocate though, because I heard a saying it was just like pretty much they said, you know, you can always have another kid, but you know, but at the same time that's your wife that you marry. So I'm just like, yeah, but I'm still choosing the kid though.
I mean, I think it makes sense. You know, I just think it makes sense. And honestly, I'm not exactly trying to grandstand or whatever. I just really would hope, because I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and just name her, right? So Sharon and I, we babysit, right? We babysitted last night actually. So you know, and
family planning,
right? You know, so you know, it was kind of cool, you know, to babysit, right? You know, we had this baby just in between, you know, sleeping in the bed, but you know, between us, so it's kind of like, you know, you can get like a little taste of what's on the horizon, right? And so in the middle of the night, he starts, you know, climbing. Like we have one of those beds, or like the interlocking squares type of things, you know. So he starts climbing, and you know, I have to work in the morning. I had court at 8 o'clock. Like this morning, I had court at 8 o'clock. Like I'm like, bro, like I'm gonna need you to calm down, right? You know. But I stayed awake, you know, pretty much because I had to keep pulling his, you know, leg back, you know, to bring it back, you know, kind of like, and I stayed awake and she did as well, you know. But man, I woke up in the morning feeling fulfilled, like regardless of the hassle. Like I wasn't tired. I'm a 2 cups of coffee type of guy every morning. I wasn't tired. Like I was a little there, but my mind, I was sharp. I was happy. The kid just, you know, so I feel like
brought it out of you.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I would expect her to understand. Gotta save the kid.
With that being said, I want to switch it back. So now we're married. There's no children, or there may be children involved. I know how it was in my household. Is there a belief that men have the final say in their household when it comes to family?
I'm gonna hold off. I'll wait. Because I'm very strong opinions.
Ooh, nobody got
I have to say,
Okay, I'll say this. Go back to misogynist.
Damn.
You know, like I'm gonna keep it 100 with my fellas and you know with my ladies. Like guys want to have that power. You know.
You think guys want to have that power?
Yeah.
I'll get. Don't answer that. Table that question.
Well, I'll say this. We feel like we deserve the power.
Okay.
Right.
But, you know, I'm going to call a spade. You know, we're in 2021 now. It should be equality. So that being said, it should be a thing where we go over it. I mean, in certain situations, you know, the woman might take control and say, no, this is what's going to happen. And you just have to rock for it. You know, that's my woman. It is what it is. I've been through with my girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, where she just said stuff and I said, yeah, I ain't messing with her, she got it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I bet. All right, but anyway, pretty much, but in certain situations where I had a strong, you know, feeling on something and I said what I had to say. So, you know, we talked about it. It's a respect thing, but at the same time, certain situations. But I will say some people, not all, like some women, they actually like when their other actually takes charge, you know. But others think like, you know, I want to be that dominant person. So, you know, it's like a balance. But I don't know how other people are, but you know.
So I agree with the man having the final say, but we are a unit, so we will decide on things together. But if it's like we're on the fence or on the opposite sides, I think he'll be the final say. And I feel like he'll have the final say that's best for our family, not best for him. So it's like whether she moves to Bowie or Laurel and we're on the fence, he'll have the final say, but he's thinking holistically for everybody involved, not just for himself. It's the deciding factor.
Yeah, I think that's a time when you actually choosing the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with comes into play, right?
Hello.
You know, so it's like if you choose the right person, you will trust them to make the right decision, right? You know, so the way I see it is if you go back to the conversation we're having about parents and then maybe giving a little more leeway to the boys as opposed to the girls. Is it rooted in misogyny? Of course it is. But are your parents misogynistic? Absolutely not. That is their way of loving. Sometimes our way of loving is us imposing. And listen, I'm not trying to excuse it, right? I'm not trying to excuse it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. By no means. It's just like I'm an African guy. Like probably around this room, I'm probably the last one who came into this country. I've been here for 5 years, right? I'm still trying to learn how things work in America, But I can tell you this: I grew up in a place where, in a family unit where, my father was, obviously the head of the family, and around people where their fathers were the head of the family. That was regardless of whether the father was the major breadwinner in the family. He was the head regardless, right? Like, he had the final say regardless. But that was where I was, that's where I grew up. So I kind of like got a little bit of that, or maybe a lot of that, and it's like right now I think of it this way. Whenever I meet somebody, when I met her, believe it or not, she's gonna tell you. But one of the things I tell you, or I tell them, it's like, hey, listen, this is how I roll. So I want you to consent to it.
That's right.
The next thing I tell them is, hey, I'm gonna have a daughter and her name is gonna be Chelsea.
Oh,
so you can consent to it. So you can consent to it. So if there's gonna be date number 2, at least you said yes. Right? So what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna wait for us to be dating for like 6 months and then I'll tell you, hey, listen, I'm gonna need you to, kind of like, no, I get the final say. No. Just give it to you, just stay right there. So if you subscribe to the notion that, a man should be the head of the family, then we're gonna roll. If you don't subscribe to that notion, that's okay. We can go our separate ways. Because I would not have it any other way.
But I like that you were honest from the jump about it.
Yes.
So you feel like men should be more upfront about it?
Yeah.
About even everything.
Yeah. I don't want to waste my time.
Hey, so
30, not 29.
You know what? I'm gonna table this right now. This has been Stuck in the Middle. Shout out to all parties involved, aka Tevin Mason, DLB African, Lamps, Alameda, dropping jewels today. Terrence, my immigration lawyer, and Nane. Yo, I feel like a blog is about to come out about this.
What she say about
Actually,
the
I've
man?
been working on
What
one.
she say about the man household? She didn't answer that, so let's wrap.
Oh, I didn't answer that. I pick my fights in the sense that, do I absolutely have to have a final say? I'm gonna say it, and then you're gonna say what you're gonna say, then we're gonna agree to disagree. I easily go with the flow without having to change a lot of who I am. So I don't care for meat, but if I end up with a guy who absolutely has to have meat, I'll cook you the meat. You can eat it. Just don't make me eat with you because you eat meat. So that's kind of the consequence. I'll go with the flow, but if I don't want to go
How you
there,
gonna know how
then
it tastes to cook it from? Okay.
I can taste the seasoning, but I don't have to eat the meat.
True.
So it's That's like, do I really want to fight over meat? No. Just let it go. But if it's something that I absolutely have to have a say, I'm just gonna say it, and then you just tell what you're gonna do.
And if he's the right man, he will listen because we all know who really runs the household.
That's right.
It's been Stuck in the Middle podcast. More episodes coming soon. Stay tuned. We out.